Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Judge Nelson.
Ready to start? No, I don't see,
Everybody's on.
who's the litigation manager?
Michael.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Mr. Jordan.
How you doing, DJ?
Good, all right.
We do have at least one Spanish interpretation breakout need.
All right, have we ordered the interpreter?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so. Pretty sure.
He's logged on.
Mr. McLean, it's my understanding we don't need that anymore. Her private attorney is at courtroom 2.
Excellent.
Okay, good. All right, we'll get started. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. And this is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so I am able to handle certain matters such as possible arraignment, possible plea offer, if one has been made at this juncture, and of course the bond hearings. I want to begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants on this calendar that you do have certain constitutional rights. You have a right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of this case can and will be held against you. The state is here and they're listening. And I forgot to mention your first right, which is a right to have counsel. All of you should know who your attorneys are and have spoken to them by this time, so you know who your attorneys are. So listen to them. All right, who do we have first, deputies?
Position number 2, Ms. Camacho.
All right.
She's at ACDC, so.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you, Ms. Chancey?
Fine, thank you, madam.
I'm trying, and one thing that I did forget, the SAP reset date is March the 27th. And Ms. Chancey, I'm trying to figure out if we need you or not. He has
Yes.
private counsel, I believe. Okay. This is Kimberly.
Your Honor, I believe we still need Ms. Chancey for one of the bindovers.
Okay. But this case is position 2, 25 CR 0013336B, Kimberly Butler, charged with 1 count of battery family violence, pretrial.
I think
It's
Good afternoon.
Camacho or Butler?
Camacho, position 3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My mistake.
It's okay. 25 CR 0013345J. But I believe that may be Murley Camacho, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property, 2nd count of battery family violence. Now pretrial.
First.
Okay. All right.
Good morning or good afternoon, Your Honor. That's my case.
Okay.
This is an incident from the 16th of February at about 5:24 p.m. Police were called to 843 Roswell Creek Lane.
would you like me to interpret that, Ms. Allen?
Were you asked to come in and interpret for this case? Absolutely, if that's.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Chansey, it is for this case?
That's the,
Counsel are you in courtroom two, are you representing?
yes, Your Honor.
Tell me your name, please.
Miranda Campbell.
Miranda Campbell.
Yes, ma'am. I'm stepping in for George. He's usually the attorney, but he wasn't available today.
Oh, okay. Then let me do this a little bit better, the way we're supposed to do. I apologize. And Miss Chansey should have just told me to stop talking, so that I could get her in. But
Okay, I was waiting for your confirmation that I was going to be needed. But
Right.
I can interpret what Ms. Allen said. Este fue un incidente del 16 de febrero, más o menos a las 5:24 de la noche, en donde la policía se llamó al 843 Roswell Creek Lane. Thank you, Ms. Allen.
And go ahead, ADA,
you.
Alan.
Thank you. The victim in this case is Jesus Correa, Correia. He's a former roommate of the defendant, and he reported that he'd been assaulted.
La víctima en este caso es Jesús Correa, Correa, y él es un coinquilino anterior que tenía la acusada. You're muted, madam.
Thank you. On scene at the location, he was noted to have a bloody laceration next to his eye as well as the back of his head.
En el lugar de los hechos se notó que tenía una lastimadura al lado del ojo, al igual que en la parte de atrás de la cabeza.
He told police a group of people pulled up to the location in a Toyota Camry and exited that vehicle. The defendant is the one individual he could provide information about, name information.
Él le dijo a la policía que un grupo de gente había llegado al lugar en un Toyota Camry y salieron del vehículo. El acusado es el individuo que puede proveer información sobre el nombre de estos.
He reported that Marilee, the defendant, who's his former roommate, came over and grabbed the cell phone out of his hands and threw it on the ground, damaging it. She then held him, grabbing him by his hands so that the other people there could assault him, and that's what caused the injuries on his face.
Él informó que Marilee, la acusada, quien era su ex coinquilina, llegó y arrebató el teléfono celular de sus manos y lo tiró al piso, dañándolo. Ella entonces lo tomó, sosteniéndolo de las manos para que los otros pudieran agredirlo, y eso fue lo que causó las lesiones en la cara de él.
The individuals had left in their vehicle when police arrived, but they did observe his visible injuries, bleeding, and his broken cell phone.
Los individuos se habían ido en su vehículo cuando llegó la policía, pero ellos observaron las lesiones que eran visibles, el sangrado y también el teléfono celular roto.
This defendant only criminal history is April 2024 driving without a license, and it looks like she came in Texas in 2023. She's got an alien inadmissibility charge, Your Honor.
La acusada tiene una información penal de la fecha de abril del 2024 por manejar sin licencia, y pareciera que ella vino a Texas en el 2023. Ella tiene un cargo por inmigrante indocumentada, su señoría.
We're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to stay away from the victim, Jesus Correa, and wherever he may live.
Solicitamos que una fianza bajo garantía de $3,000 que se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas y una orden de distanciamiento perimetral de la víctima Jesús Correa donde quiera que él resida.
We did try to make contact with the victim today, but we were not successful yet, and we'll continue those efforts.
Tratamos de contactarnos con la víctima sin éxito, pero continuaremos haciendo el esfuerzo de contactarlo.
All right. And Attorney Campbell?
Yeah,
Abogado Kim,
we agree with the $3,000 surety bond and the special.
¿estamos de acuerdo?
Did you hear her, Ms. Chancellor?
Yes, Your Honor, estamos de acuerdo con la fianza bajo garantía.
All right. I will order the $3,000 surety bond. That'll be $1,500 on each charge. Let me change that. Let me make it $2,000 on the battery, $1,000 on the trespass.
Se otorga una fianza de $2,000 por golpes y lesiones y de $1,000 por allanamiento de morada.
And we're going to order a no further contact with the victim, Jesus Carrera,
Y no tener ningún tipo de contacto, mantenerse distanciada de la víctima Jesús Correa.
and with that no further contact, stay away from wherever he may be living or working. I don't think we have the exact addresses, so just 200 yards, stay away.
Y con esta orden de distanciamiento perimetral a su persona, desde donde quiera que él resida o trabaje. No tenemos la dirección exacta, son 200 yardas de distancia, de distanciamiento de él.
All right. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or unprescribed medication, knives or guns while on bond.
Se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas y también de medicamentos no recetados, de cuchillos o armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
All right. And I don't believe there's anything else. Anything else, State or
¿Algo
Attorney
más
Campbell,
de
that
la
I've left
fiscalía?
out?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nada de la fiscalía.
All right. Do you have any other cases, Ms. Campbell, or that's it for you today?
That's it for me.
All right. Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, is position number 17, Mr. White.
Okay.
Yeah, Brandon White.
And Ms. Chansey, do you want to sound just to make sure?
I believe, Your Honor, that I was called for Mr. Juan Hernandez too. Case 25 CR 001-346Y.
Yes, Mr. McLean has to interview him, so.
Okay,
All
that was
right.
7.
Okay, I'll be standing by, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. This should be Mr. White in courtroom 2.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, 25 CR 001348F, Brandon White, charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 2nd count criminal trespass and damage to property, and the 3rd count of simple battery family violence.
He got 24 total. He's wanted out of Cobb and Clayton County. Went to felony earlier. I think he got a $5,000 bond. 2021 probation, 2018 FTA, 2018 possession of cocaine, giving false name, obstruction, felony. Interference with government property conviction. 2018 battery DV obstruction, cruelty in the third conviction. 2017 FTA, 2017 affray, criminal damage to property, second degree, theft by taking, trespass conviction. They got another 2017 FTA and one from 2016.
Your
Thank
Honor,
you.
that's my case.
All right.
This is an incident from March the 5th. Police were called to 3208 MLK Junior Drive, Southwest. The victim, her name is Sharice Samuel. She is also the victim from the felony case that was on first appearance there this morning. She reported to police that she'd been driving. The defendant was in her vehicle with her. He became angry and struck her while they were on the highway. She pulled into a convenience store, which is the location where police were called, and they responded. She told the defendant to get out. She then went inside the store. He followed her inside and assaulted her. Surveillance footage captured this assault. The defendant is seen approaching Mrs. Samuel inside the location, grabbing her and shoving her off of a stool, striking her multiple times, shoving her and grabbing her some more. She had a busted bottom lip as a result of being struck multiple times. The defendant then exits out of the view of the camera and he's captured going into her vehicle in the parking lot and taking items out, appear to be speakers out of her vehicle and smashing them into the windshield of her car, damaging it. Police were shown the surveillance. They obtained that and gathered it as evidence, and the victim provided identification information for this defendant. He also had active warrants for felony level damage to her property from October, and that's why he was on first appearance today. You did just hear about multiple felony convictions, but what is actually the most relevant is that he's got a prior battery family violence against a different victim out of this jurisdiction from 2018. We did request that this case be transferred today based on that prior battery conviction that makes this a felony, but we haven't heard back. That may happen later. Based on the information, Your Honor, we're asking for a $6,000 surety. That's $2,000 on each of the charges in front of you. Absolutely no contact with Ms. Samuel. She reported that they used to live together. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. We did try to reach out to Ms. Samuels today. We were not successful at this point, but we'll continue those efforts, especially since she's got cases in both felony and misdemeanor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is this to you, Mr. McLean?
It is.
Okay.
Brandon White is 33. He lives on Mallard Street in the 30318 zip code area. He has a high school education and military school. He maintains houses. He has a company called Heavenly Properties, and he's maintains those houses and I believe rents them out. Before that, he did work in the restaurant in the phrases back of the house. He was a cook and preparing food back there in the section of the restaurant that does that. We would ask the court to consider, under these circumstances, a signature bond if possible, and a $1,000 to $2,000 surety bond if that signature bond is not possible.
No, I don't believe a signature bond is possible. I'm going to, with this history, and I understand he's got warrants out of 2 other counties, but I'm going to go ahead and order the $6,000 surety bond, $2,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order that he have no further contact with Sharice Samuel. He is to not, and I'm not for sure who lives at the 3208. Do we know?
That's a convenience store, Your Honor.
Oh.
Just stay away from wherever she may live or work.
All right.
Send the proper spelling of her name to Mr. Michael.
Okay. And to, as well as having no further contact, to stay away from wherever she may live or work. He's got to be 200 yards away from her, 2 football fields. No contact with her whatsoever by phone, by internet, or any other means. no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns, or unprescribed medication while on bond. And I think that'll be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, we could, do Alpharetta, that's position number 13.
All right. Is it Urvil Patel?
Yes.
All right, that's 25 CR 001347E. I have 5 charges. DUI, less safe, and DUI open. Nope, I'm sorry, DUI less safe, willful obstruction, illegal stop and stand, driving, possession of open alcohol container, and a second count of willful obstruction. Pre-trial.
2022 simple assault that was dismissed. 2021 DUI conviction, 2 of them from 2021. Had a 2014 DUI dismissed and a 2000 DUI conviction.
All right.
Your
State.
Honor, thank you. This is an incident from the 13th. So yesterday, at about 9 p.m., police were on patrol in the area of Jones Bridge Road and Kimball Road out in Johns Creek. They came up to that large intersection and saw that a Toyota truck, a Highlander, had been abandoned in one of the lanes there, driving lanes of the intersection. The vehicle had music on and the hatch in the back of the vehicle was open. Multiple cars were backed up because it was impeding the flow of traffic. Witnesses on scene reported that the male who exited that vehicle had walked off and pointed into the direction of a parking lot where a closed business was located. Officer Bacon made contact with the defendant, who had his dog with him and was standing in the parking lot area. He was described as belligerent and stumbling. He had multiple indicators of intoxication, including thick slurred speech. He told the police that his dog was dangerous and would bite them. He came at officers with his fists, and he did not follow directions to stay away and to control his dog. The dog actually bit officers on the chest of their equipment. The defendant then refused to comply with verbal commands to get on the ground and had to be taken into custody. Those are some of the basis for what could be multiple obstruction counts. So when he was arrested, he had the keys to that Toyota that was abandoned at the intersection in his pocket. Police went to the vehicle and they found 2 open, almost empty vodka bottles in the console in the middle of his vehicle where he sits. A search warrant was obtained for blood. And following the signing of that search warrant, when police were trying to execute that search warrant with the help of someone doing a blood draw, a nurse at Emory Johns Creek Hospital, the defendant refused to comply and was aggressive. He was given multiple commands to comply with the lawful order of the court for his blood, and he refused. And it just, seems like maybe this is something he knows about since he's got 4 prior arrests for DUI. These 2 DUI convictions in 2021 were through DUI court. And as part of that plea, he was allowed to have his simple assault case dismissed. So based on the information in front of you, Your Honor, not only does this individual present a risk to the community, to general people on the street, he clearly is not in control of his abilities to drive without drinking alcohol. We're asking for a $15,000 surety on the DUI and 2 obstruction charges, so $5,000 each, $2,000 on the open container, and $1,000 for stopping in the middle of the intersection for a total of $18,000. We'd like that to be a surety bond, requirement that the defendant do absolutely no driving, have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd ask for an ankle monitor at his expense. Thank you.
All right, give me the breakdown again, ASGL.
Be kind, I'm not good at math. $5,000 each on the DUI and the 2 obstruction charges for $15,000. $2,000 for the open container and $1,000 for the illegal stop in the middle of the intersection.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Patel, his DUIs are have some age on them, not ancient to 2021. I realize not truly ancient, but he did go through the court. He's an educated person. He does work. I was able to talk to him on the phone today before court. He will be defending these charges in later court proceedings. He would ask the court to consider something more in the nature of a $2,000 or $3,000 surety bond. Maybe as high, I think, maybe as high as $3,000, but no more than that, if that's possible, Your Honor. I don't think a signature bond. I mean, we would ask for a signature bond certainly, but if a signature bond is not available, I think $3,000 is about the best he could do on that.
Well, I don't know if he understands
Where'd he
the
go?
severity of what's going on here. I guess fortunately for the other citizens of the county, he hasn't killed anyone or caused a serious accident. Doesn't sound like it, but he's headed that way, and I want to make sure he understands not to. I'm going to order the $15,000 surety bond, $5,000 on the DUI, $5,000 on the obstruction, $1,000 on the illegal stop and stand, $2,000 on the open container, and another $5,000 on the other obstruction. That's a total of $18,000. On the ankle monitor, or either the I don't know, he should have something on his vehicle, but I guess if he's not in DUI school or the DUI court, that's probably why the and the name escapes me, ASG Allen on the
Like an interlock device.
yes.
I don't believe he's subject to anything like that at this time, Your Honor.
All right. And I want to do the ankle monitor, but I don't know if that will stop him from driving. You know, but he is not to drive, that's for sure. No driving. Just don't even drive. Shouldn't have your license, but if you do, no driving right now while you're on bond. Just don't drive. You can get Ubers and ride shares and have other people ride you around. I'm just going to order that you do not drive at all. So if you're caught driving, you'll be back down here at the Fulton County Jail. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no guns, no unprescribed medication. I don't know. Do you know, Mr. McLean, is he going to any AA meetings trying to get some help? Maybe
You know, he has that available if he can make that bond. He's got that available. He's right in the area, and there are many of those classes right available.
I'm going to require him to go to AA classes at least twice a week, if not more. And I guess he'll have to walk there or get a ride, because again, he cannot be driving. And that's all I'll order at this time.
Next, Your Honor, we have position 2.
Miss Butler. And that is Attorney McLeod's client.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Your Honor.
This is 25 CR 001336B. Kimberly Butler, charged with 1 count of battery family violence.
It's a third arrest. I didn't see any violence.
All right.
This is my case, Your Honor. This incident took place on March 12th, 2025 at 2740 Greenboro Parkway Southwest. That's a restaurant called Hands, H-A-N-S. Police arrived on the scene and they stated that the defendant was arguing with the father of her 3 children about not finding her car keys. The victim in this case said that the victim walked up on her and she said he has a history of assaulting her, so she felt threatened and struck him first, and then he struck her back. Initially, defendant claimed that he walked up on her and struck her first. The victim states she hit him, and the victim states that she hit him and pulled out one of his dreads, where officers could see where the hair was ripped from. A witness to this said he saw the defendant antagonizing the victim, calling him broke and punching him several times. Our office has had a chance to speak to the victim. He said they are in a relationship. They do not currently live together. He denied the events in the warrant, but officers were able to see visible injuries. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. We're asking for no further contact with the victim, a Mortez Stone, a stay away from, we'll let the court decide, give it to the discretion, I'm sorry, whether there should be a stay away from the Hands restaurant. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, and we could sign for the victim when
Could I
appropriate.
speak?
No,
That's the alleged victim, Your Honor.
I understand, but I just don't, I see you there, Ms. Stone, but I don't like to be interrupted, and I will give you an opportunity, okay?
Okay.
So if you want to address the court, I will swear you in first. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, put your hand down. Are you in fear of Miss
No, ma'am.
okay, or do you want to have any further contact with Miss Butler?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That's
you all,
my baby mama.
you all
I
have
don't she didn't fear me. She didn't do nothing to me as in fear me to me.
do you all live together?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have children together?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
4.
How old?
I got one is my junior is 4 years old. I got one that's 9 years old, and I got one 10, and I got one 12.
Okay. And so I will take that into consideration. Let's see what Ms. Butler's attorney states. All right, you can
Yes,
mute yourself.
ma'am.
Your
Thank
Honor, if I may, I'm sorry, I completely missed this note here. They actually do have an open case where the victim is the defendant, and he was ordered to have no further contact with the victim. I can give you that
But
CR.
I told them that.
No,
I
hold
told
on.
them that,
Hold
ma'am.
on.
So
Hold
I
on.
did tell them that.
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
CR number is 23 CR 00576
That was in 2023. It's still open.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Would you like to say one other thing, Mr. Stone?
When I went to court, they said they was supposed to take my thing off for me being able to even see my children, and actually we don't stay together. I just come visit, and that's one time I just came visit. We do not stay together.
Mm.
I just come visit, spend night. I spend a night like or two, but other than that, no, we do not stay together.
Well, but even coming to visit seems to violate the bond order.
No, like it's come to that basically I just come to like I don't come inside the house, I get to church and go off.
Well, somehow you fought another case. I mean, somehow there's another case.
That was
So
a visit.
obviously
It was
that
a
this,
visit. It was a visit.
yeah, but
Buying
it's not
children
working.
food.
It's not working because someone's in jail.
I understand what you're saying.
All right, mute yourself, please. Go ahead,
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Yes,
McLeod.
we are fine with the signature bond. My client does want to have contact with Mr. Stone because she believes it is in the best interest of her four minor children that they should have contact with their father. There are too many children growing up without their fathers around, and my client is particular about that. She believes that having the children's father around is good for the children. And as Dad has said, they are young children. The eldest one is under 12 years old. So we would ask for her bond to be conditioned on no further violent contact with Mr. Stone so that he can be there to do what fathers are supposed to do. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Well, we've got to stop it somewhere, and they've got to either halfway learn to get along, but can't keep coming to court. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. That'll be at level, I think level 1. And I'm going to order right now that there be no further contact with the parties. They seem to need some type of cooling off period, whatever that, however long that may be. No further contact. If there's visitation allowed with the children, that can be facilitated by a third party. So he needs to not go over there. They are to have no further contact. So you understand that, Ms. Stone, if you need to get your children, you all need to arrange that by a third party, a friend or a relative or someone.
Yes, ma'am.
So that we can hopefully stop these incidents. And
But the thing is, Judge, that she did not touch me. The dread that was that he there talking about is already happened from 3 weeks ago. She did not touch me.
okay, well, we until we sort it out, you can talk to the state, I guess, as a victim, and maybe try to sort it out. But right now, I want to cool things down.
Okay.
And there's no further contact. You all need to stay away from each other for a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, guns, or anything of that sort while on bond. Now you have to stay 200 yards away from her. And you can't go over to visit the children and spend the night. Can't do that.
Your Honor, quorum 2 is ready. I mean, quorum 1 with the
I'm
interpreter.
sorry.
Quorum 1 is ready with the interpreter case.
Oh. You want me to finish this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
I thought we were done.
I would like for her to take 2 anger awareness courses through pretrial. And I think that'll be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. It is position 7, Juan Hernandez. 25 CR 001346Y. One count of failure to yield right away. Second count, possession of open alcohol container. Third count, DUI. And a fourth count, driving without a valid license.
El Juan Hernández, el caso 21 CR 001346Y, con un cargo de one moment, please. Por tenencia de un envase de alcohol abierto, un tercer cargo por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol y un cuarto por manejar sin una licencia válida. El primer cargo fue por no ceder el paso.
Date. I'm sorry, pretrial.
Hold on real quick. Let me see something. I got second. 2013 illegal alien arrest.
Tengo que en el 2013 por inmigrante indocumentado fue el arresto.
Your Honor, this is an incident from March the 9th in Union City. Officer Williams was patrolling in the area of State Route 138. He heard a loud crash and saw the vehicle this defendant was driving in front of the Quick Trip located at 4745 Jonesboro Road. There were obvious empty cans of beer in the passenger side of the vehicle. The defendant refused field sobriety tests. He had an international, sorry.
Este incidente ocurrió el 9 de marzo en Union City. El oficial Williams estaba patrullando en el área y en el de la ruta 138, cuando escuchó un sonido muy fuerte, vio que el vehículo del acusado estaba manejando enfrente de un negocio Quick Trip localizado en el 4745 de Jonesboro Road. También encontraron latas vacías de cerveza en el lado del pasajero dentro del vehículo y el acusado se rehusó a tomar un análisis análisis en el área.
He had in his possession an international driving document. He was taken into custody, and he was also found to be in possession of a stolen .38 caliber firearm.
Él tenía en su posesión una licencia de conducir internacional, se lo puso bajo custodia y también se le encontró se encontró que poseía un arma 38 de calibre 38 robada, arma de fuego.
We'd asked for $3,000 surety bond for the DUI and $1,000 each on the remaining counts. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Pedimos una fianza bajo garantía de $3,000 por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol y de $1,000 por cada uno de los cargos restantes, que se prohíba el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
And that's all, Your Honor.
Y eso es
No
todo.
driving, excuse me, no driving unless he had got the proper license and documents for his vehicle.
Y que se prohíba manejar a no ser que posea una licencia apropiada para su persona y el vehículo.
And
Right.
Your Honor, as I noted in the chat, I have driven to a remote location and catching up with the emails through my phone while we're doing Zoom on my phone. So I will have to speak with Ms. Chansey in a breakout with Mr. Hernandez, and I'll also need to speak on the phone with Mr. Ingram before we do Ingram's.
Su señoría, yo he estado obteniendo información mientras estábamos en la plataforma de Zoom, pero necesito que nos den una habitación virtual con la intérprete y también con el con la señora Ingram.
Yeah, I wish you would have told me that before we
Oh,
presented the whole case.
I was checking my email while we were actually doing the hearing. We don't
All right.
have email as the signal where I am. I have to do it through my phone.
Can you put them in the breakout, Mr. Jordan?
Right now. Is Mr. McLean going in the breakout right now?
Yes.
What?
Oh, he's the only one here, right?
Mr. Chitai should be on. I thought that's who was in the breakout.
Oh, I'm sorry. PD, pronounce your last name for me. Oh, you're on mute.
Juan Hernandez. Oh,
Chitaya.
Chitaya. Okay. Which cases do you have? Can we possibly do his so that McLean
we
can
have
go ahead and get these interviewed?
we have position number 8, Ms. Hood.
Okay, so Judge, who do you want in the breakout room with Mr. McLean?
Courtroom.
Miss Chansey and the and courtroom 2.
Okay.
Courtroom
Right. With
And
Mr.
courtroom 2.
That won't be necessary, just getting on the phone with him. We're just doing the breakout because it's translation.
So courtroom 1, Mr. McLean and Miss Chansey for the breakout room.
I don't know. Is that what you all want, Mr. McLean?
Yes, that's
If-
correct.
If it can be brought to courtroom 1, sure.
Which one is it? Courtroom 1 or courtroom 2?
Courtroom
Well,
1, Your Honor. Courtroom 1 is courtroom 1.
He's already
Courtroom 1.
sitting in courtroom 1.
Oh, good.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And this is position number 8 in courtroom 2.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Jesus. Right. Mrs. Hood.
Mrs. Hood, I apologize. Can't see well. It says 25 CR 001338E. Ms. Hood, charged with 1 count of terroristic threats and acts, and 2nd count of disrupting a public school.
Got 4 total. Open battery 21 CR 007-478E and a 2022 FTA.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my case. This incident happened, it looks like September 18th, 2024 at Dunbar Elementary located at 500 Whitehall Terrace in Atlanta. Officer responded to the elementary school regarding an irate parent call. The defendant attempted to enter through a staff exit door when the victim teacher, I believe her name is Denise Davis, was letting her 5th grade class out for recess. The victim asked the defendant to use the front door, for which she became upset. She said she could have said it to her in a better way. Defendant began using profanity and stated to the victim she will kick her butt in front of all these kids. Several students witnessed the altercation and caused a disruption among the class. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. Given the date of the incident, no further violent contact with the victim and Miss Denise Davis. Really to stay away to the court's discretion. I'm not sure if she is a parent of a child at the school. If she is, then no stay away necessary and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right. PD.
We asked the court to follow the state's recommendation, Your Honor. I'm not sure if she has a child that goes to that school, but we would allow for the stay away unless she has a child, in which case we just ask that she be allowed to pick up and drop off her child there.
Well, I hope she can do it safely. And I know this happened in September of 2024. So let's see if she can just at least answer those questions. Counsel, if you don't mind, whether she has a child at that school now.
I do.
You do? What grade?
In kindergarten,
You have just the one child there?
they twins.
I'm sorry?
2.
2 children there. Kindergarten and what other grade?
They both at kindergarten, they twins.
Oh, twins. Okay. Well, usually I'm reluctant to say that a parent can't go to school because, or can't be there because your children have to go to school. I don't get into the facts at this point, but I am very concerned because the staff have to feel safe there. And
Their dad can drop them off and pick them up.
okay, so then I'll order stay away from that location while on bond. It should have cooled down by now, but I don't want you to go back and we start it up over again. So I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. And that's 1,500 on each. I'm going to
Level was 2. I didn't put it
level,
on the note. It's 2 though. If
okay,
you do the
level
signature
2.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll do level 2.
Because of the open case. That's all.
I'm going to order one week or 5 days of anger management courses through pretrial. And that way she can learn how to control her anger. Stay away from this Dunbar Elementary School while on bond. And no further contact with Denise Davis or any of the staff at the school. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Position number 4 at ACDC, Your Honor. Ms. Dillingham.
All right, this is 25 CR 001344A. Ms. Dillingham is charged at 1 count of simple battery, family violence, 2nd count of simple assault, family violence, 3rd count of reckless conduct. Pretrial.
First.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened, I apologize. Okay, sorry. This incident happened on the 13th of March at 3041 Landham Drive Southwest. The victims in this case is the mother of the defendant and the brother. The victim stated that she was allowing the defendant to stay at her home address because she just gave birth approximately 2 months ago. An argument ensued, I believe, over some food with the brother. The defendant claims that the minor brother walked up on her and she grabbed the knife to protect herself. She waved it at him. And an argument ensued in which she did say to the minor child that if he does start fighting with her, she will send him to meet his deceased father. The second victim in this case, which is the defendant's mother, they also got into a physical altercation in which the mother was trying to retrieve the knife from the defendant. All of this while she was holding her 2-month-old child. So the state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. No further violent contact with the victim, who's the mother, Latoya Montford, I believe, and the minor brother, initials AM. We're looking for an MHET evaluation, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And the victim, I believe the mother, is on Zoom, if we could sound for her when appropriate.
All right, Latoya Mumford.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you wish to address the court today? Yes or no? First say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, are you in fear of Ms. Dillingham?
No.
Okay, do you want to have any further contact with Ms. Dillingham?
Just no violent contact, because at the end of the day, she's still my child. And I never wanted this situation to, get this far. I just wanted to, de-escalate the situation. But I think she does maybe need a little, some help with postpartum. Cause I don't know, maybe, she's been a little angry lately. So maybe she, going through a little something with the baby or whatever. But normally she's not like that.
Okay. So, I don't know if I would order an MAGT, but let's hear from her counsel and then I'll make a ruling, okay?
Okay.
No
Go ahead,
objection to
counsel.
yes, Your Honor. No objection to the state's recommendations.
Okay. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, $1,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order no further violent contact with the victims, Miss Mumford and brother by the initials of AM, who's obviously a minor. But Miss Dillingham, I'm going to allow you to go back as long as you get in control of your emotions and what's going on, okay? Because we don't want you to end up back down here or anybody else for that matter. So with that no further violent contact with pretrial, I'm going to have you to take 3 days of anger awareness courses and ask that you voluntarily seek some medical attention or evaluation in case you are suffering from postpartum depression. And I'm going to rely on you to do that on your own. Can you do that for me? And just at least go talk to someone or be seen, okay? All right. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, unprescribed medication, or guns while on bond. And I believe that's it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Next, we have position number 6, Mr. Gray.
This is 25 CR 001343Y, Donnell Gray, charged with 1 count of willful obstruction, 2nd count of criminal trespass. Retrial.
48. We got an open criminal damage to property, hit and run. It's 24 PI 005190. Open cruelty in the second, 24 PI 005191. On probation, possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender. It's 22 SC 180236. He has a probation violation from this year and last year. Yeah, 2017 obstruction conviction. I stopped at 2017.
Your Honor, this is my case. This is an incident from December the 17th of 2024. It's a bindover out of Union City. He actually, a day after this incident, was arrested again for shoplifting at the same location and has actually already been convicted for that shoplifting. So he's got a criminal trespass count in this case. He is a frequent trespasser and shoplifter based on the information from the Supercenter Walmart where this took place. It's at 4735 State Route 138. The Walmart Supercenter is in Union City. So on December the 17th, officers were dispatched on a report of a shoplifter. The defendant was identified. He was there on scene. He'd been previously criminally trespassed. He had in his possession $471.77 worth of items, household items from the location that he hadn't paid for. And he was taken into custody, Your Honor. You did just hear he's got multiple open cases. We are asking for a $3,000 surety. That's $1,000 for each of the counts that he's in front of you. I think that the calendar is missing the shoplifting count, Your Honor, but I believe Mr. Michael Jordan should be able to see it. And so we're asking for a $3,000 surety to stay away from that location, the Walmart Supercenter. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And again, that's 4735 State Route 138.
All right. Mr. Chatia?
Yes, Your
Chitara?
Honor. Yes,
I
Your Honor.
apologize. I'll
You're all
get
right.
used to it.
Chitaya.
Chatia.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Georgia, so he would be a minimal flight risk were he to be released on bond. He also has a high school diploma, and for the past 7 years, he's been working for a construction company. It's called Flying Form Inc. And he works as a carpenter there. He is a certified carpenter. For those reasons, we ask this court to consider the lowest possible bond to secure his return.
I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond, 1,000 on each of the 3 charges. I'm going to order stay away from the Walmart Supercenter in Union City. Do not go back there, Mr. Gray, or else you'll be arrested again.
Commissioner, speak now.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. I don't think your attorney's going to want you to speak. This is not your trial, it's your bond hearing.
Go ahead.
Next, we have position number 5, Ms. Farrell. Jeffrey Farrell.
All right, this is 25 CR 00133-7E. It's Farrell, charged of 1 count of battery family violence. Pre-trial.
I got a 2020 simple battery dismiss.
Okay. State.
My case, Your Honor. This incident happened on March 12th, 2025 at 1749 Heron Way Southwest in South Fulton. Officers responded to the residents regarding a verbal altercation that turned physical. They spoke to the alleged victim in this case as Zion Farrell, who was the daughter of the defendant. She told officers she was attacked by the defendant after an argument about cleaning up the house. The defendant advised her she needed to leave. When the victim went to pack her stuff, defendants began throwing her, she stated, her expensive nail items and then attacked her, in which the victim then bit her in return. The victim tried to leave out of the home to get away from being attacked. The defendant stole her phone, locked her in the garage, so it would no longer open. The victim was observed by officers to have bleeding, scratches, and her shirt to be torn. The defendant advised officers that there was an argument regarding the victim cleaning up because of disability she may have. And she stated that the victim became physical with her. They were both arrested. The victim was, the case was NOD'd in this case. The defendant did have scratches and I believe bleeding to her fingers. The state is looking for a $1,000 surety bond on this case. No further contact with the victim. Zion Farrell, I don't believe she's a minor. A stay away from 1749 Heron Way Southwest if the victim is still residing there, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, do we know the relationship, or does the defendant?
She's
Yes,
Your Honor, their mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Mother and daughter, okay.
That is correct, Your Honor. And I had spoken to Miss Farrell, the other Miss Farrell, the younger, earlier. Her case was NOD'd, but she is 24 years old. And she did indicate to me that she did want to have contact with her mother. So I would just like the court to understand that.
Okay. She still resides there, I guess.
That is correct, Your Honor. She tells me she's an only child. And she also mentioned that her mom was handicapped.
Okay. All right, I order $1,000 surety bond. Let me retract that out. I'll order a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. She can be a level 1 and she can call in. I'm going to order a 1-day anger awareness course through pretrial. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. No further violent contact with the victim, Zion Farrell. And I guess that'll be it.
Position 10, Heaven Jones.
Oh, Your Honor,
Uh-huh.
I see Ingram is dismissed, so of course I don't need a phone call with him. And we are ready on Mr. Hernandez.
Okay. Let's see. Ingram.
He's not even on the calendar because he was
I'm
dismissed.
going to say I don't see him.
Right, he's not there.
Well, the case is dismissed. Okay. And so who are we ready to go with now?
Hernandez and the rest of mine.
Position 10 is Ms. McLeod.
Okay.
Miss Jones, Your Honor, Heaven Jones.
Heaven Jones on position 10, 25 CR 001340C. Heaven Jones, charged at 1 count of battery family violence. Pre-trial.
I got first. You're
State. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened on March 12th, 2025 at 2741 Westchester Drive in East Point. The co-defendant in this case is the defendant's mother, who was I guess arraigned yesterday. Police responded to the location. The co-defendant said that she was involved in an altercation with her daughter, the defendant, regarding taking out the trash and why she had not taken it out. The victim left and then got home again, and they argued again about the trash. The co-defendant followed the current defendant into her room, where she tried to walk away and close her door. She claims that the defendant started striking her. The mother claims that the defendant started striking her, and she responded by striking her back, and the 911 was called. She said that the defendant said her mom threatened to kick her out. When she got home from school, continued. She tried to close her door. The defendant also stated that when she was trying to close her door, her mother struck her in the face and attempted to grab her by her neck. They fell on the bed and started fighting, threatened to kick her out again. The state is looking for the recommendation we gave yesterday for her mother, which is a 2K surety bond, no further violent contact with the co-defendant, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Your Honor, I would ask the court for a signature bond for my client. I did not hear any significant criminal history, or did I miss something?
I thought pretrial said it was the first. Is it not?
Well, I thought as well. So I would ask the court for a signature bond for my client. My client lives at this location. She actually lives with her grandmother. She tells me that her mom does not live at the location, but she sometimes comes there. She tells me that her mom has some significant disability in quotation marks, and that she does have her own Section 8 housing elsewhere, and that she was always raised by her grandmother, my client that is, and she lives in this house, which is her grandmother's house. So we would not be amenable to stay away, because that is my client's home and it is not her mother's home. Her mother was merely visiting. And my understanding is that grandma, who my client does not have her grandmother's number, would confirm this. So that is what I would ask, for a signature bond for my client, and that she be able to go back to her home. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the state was not seeking to stay away from this home address.
Okay, good.
All right. I'm going to order a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. And I'm going to order 1-day anger awareness course through pretrial. I'm going to order no further violent contact with the victim. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think
Thank
that
you,
should
Your
be
Honor.
it.
Thank you,
All
Your
right.
Honor. That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go back to the interpreter case.
So, Your Honor, this is Mr. Hernandez. We went through the facts with the help of Mrs. Chancey. This is the Union City single car collision crash in front of the Quick Trip.
Su
where the-
señoría,
Sorry.
este es el señor Hernández y ya repasamos su información que ocurrió en Union City, un accidente de vehículo enfrente de un negocio Quick Strip.
The defendant had multiple open containers in his vehicle, and he was found in possession of a stolen firearm. He has no criminal convictions, Your Honor.
El acusado tenía múltiples envases de bebida alcohólica abiertos y se encontró también la tenencia de un arma de fuego robada.
The reason that I asked for surety bonds, Your Honor, for undocumented or folks who've been removed or detained is just because of a lack of ties to the community or a risk of fleeing. Thank you.
Él tampoco tenía antecedentes penales, su señoría, y el motivo por el cual se pide las fianzas bajo garantía se debe por ser gente indocumentada que había sido detenida.
In this situation, the defendant also creates a risk to the public with behavior involving a vehicle crash and the consumption of alcohol, and he's in possession of a stolen firearm. And so that just contributes to the reason for a surety bond. Thank you.
Y en esta situación el acusado también crea un riesgo al público con un comportamiento que involucra un accidente de vehículo y el consumo de alcohol que está en posesión también de una posesión de arma de fuego y esto es lo que contribuye a la razón para que se solicite la fianza.
All right. I will, Mr. McLean, you want to present first before I give my
Thank you.
ruling?
Señor McLean, ¿puede presentar?
Mr. Hernandez is 30 years old and is a high school graduate.
El señor Hernández tiene 30 años y está graduado de la escuela secundaria.
He works at a construction company and they primarily deal with concrete. And he is a laborer there and they have a crew, including a supervisor. And I believe he has ambitions, sounds like, to become a supervisor later.
Él trabaja en una compañía de construcción en donde trabajan con el concreto, cemento, y él es un obrero que parte de un equipo de trabajadores, incluido un supervisor, y creo que también tiene la ambición, pareciera, de llegar a ser uno en el futuro.
Sort of reading between the lines of his ambitions there, Your Honor. He's been in Georgia for a year and 3 months. I wish I were saying that he was here more, but in all candor to the court, I don't think that a year and 3 months is insubstantial. I think it is a significant period of time. And he mentions his roommates to me as far as communications about the bond. And I think that he has community ties. And we would ask the court, therefore, to set the bond as low as possible.
ya tratando de ir más allá, él ha estado en Georgia por 1 año y 3 meses y ojalá pudiera decir que él ha estado más tiempo, pero con respeto a su señoría, no creo que 1 año y 3 meses sean un tiempo considerable o no considerable, perdón. Creo que es un importante periodo de tiempo y él menciona que sus coinquilinos se comunican con él tratando el tema de la fianza. Por lo que yo creo que él tiene uniones con otros miembros de la sociedad y quisiera solicitarle a su señoría, por lo tanto, que le dé una fianza lo más baja posible.
All right. I'm going to order the $5,000 surety bond. That'll be 1,000 on all the charges except for the DUI will be 3. So is that 5 or 6? I'm sorry. 1, 2,
It's 6.
that'll be 6. Yeah, $6,000 surety bond. With 3,000 on the DUI, 1,000 on the others. No driving while on bond unless he has proper license and other documents to drive a car. Looks like he probably won't. So no driving. To stay away. Well, maybe not. That was just in the street, wasn't it? By the QT.
Correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
Right. So there's no stay away, just no driving, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons or guns or unprescribed medication while on bond. And
Pero entonces son $3,000 por el cargo de DUI y $1,000 de fianza en los otros. Sería entonces un total de 2,000, de 6,000, perdón. Entonces, no hubo un pedido de mantener distanciamiento del negocio. Entonces, se prohíbe que maneje el uso de drogas, alcohol, armas y también de medicamentos que no estén recetados mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
all right. I think that will be it. I was getting ready to order him to go to some AA meetings. That may help. Let's do for him to go to at least one AA meeting a week or more.
Muy bien, yo también tengo la tendencia de ordenarle a que vaya a las reuniones de Alcohólicos Anónimos que pueden ayudarle. Hagámoslo para que él vaya por lo menos a una reunión por semana o más.
And that will do it.
Y eso es todo.
And I think, is that it now for you, Miss Chancey?
Yes, Your Honor. I think that's it. Unless somebody else, I can make an announcement if you allow it.
Okay, go ahead.
¿Hay alguien más en la plataforma de Zoom que necesite un intérprete en español para hablar con la jueza Menzi? Por favor, avísenos. Prenda su cámara y micrófono. I think we're good.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you, Your Honor.
Next position is position number 12, Mr. Wajogu.
Okay. This is 25 CR 001334E. Mr. Quadrago, charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 2nd count of criminal trespass, interference with possession.
I got
Pre-trial.
first.
Okay, state.
That's the information I have as well, Your Honor. Police were called to 3390 Stratford Road Northeast, specifically to apartment 1413, day before yesterday, so March the 12th of 2025. This was about 5 p.m. 911 call was made by a third party, so neither the defendant nor the victim called. Someone who heard the altercation and had concerns, I believe, made a call. As police were entering into the building and going into the elevator, they encountered the victim and the defendant in the elevator. Police officers engaged the victim. The documents state that they talked to her and asked her if she'd called 911. She said she had not called 911. And then police went to the door of the apartment. They noted the defendant and his description during their time in the elevator. Nobody answered the door at the apartment, and then they watched as the same woman who'd been in the elevator walked over and into the apartment where they were knocking on the door. So they spoke with her. She said she was afraid to admit that there'd been an altercation when she was in the elevator with officers. She didn't want to get the defendant in trouble. She reported that there'd been an argument. Her boyfriend, the defendant, went through her cell phone, and her name is Jada Prosser, Prosser. Jada is Jada. He'd gone through her cell phone and he saw messages he didn't like. He slapped her multiple times. He threw her phone over the balcony. When she left the location with police and walked outside, they encountered the defendant, the same individual that had been in the elevator, and he was walking away. He was told to stop and he complied. He was taken into custody. We did speak to Mrs. Prosser today. She reports that this is the first time police have been called, but not the first time the defendant has been violent with her, that he actually damaged her phone when he took it from her and threw it over the balcony. They share no children and they live together. When we asked her if she was in fear of the defendant, she said she wasn't sure. She would need to speak with him to see if he was remorseful, to determine whether she felt like she was in fear for her safety. She told us that she wanted no violent contact and she was all right with the defendant returning home, Your Honor. Based on the facts of this case, the interaction with police, her reluctance to speak to them with the defendant present, and then her reluctance to be able to talk about whether she was afraid of him, as if she were waiting for him to say he was sorry and that was going to make him not a danger to her. That's a concern for the state as far as a risk to reoffend and a risk to intimidate this young woman. We'd be asking for a $5,000 SOB since this is his first arrest, but we think no contact is appropriate. We'd also ask for no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if you'd sound from Mrs. Prosser, you can, of course, speak with her about this. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Prosser? I don't know who the last person on is. A Kiana.
Hi, yes. I would
Which
like,
case are you here for?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Which case are you here for?
So Ms. Prosser is the voice that you hear. Kiana is the face that you're seeing. Ms. Prosser, if you want to speak to the court, which you don't have to, but if you'd like to let the court know how you feel about contact, etc., you've got to turn your video on.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
All
I
right,
guess
we're
we're
gonna move
asking
on.
for
I'm not gonna wait forever.
no,
Okay, go ahead.
we're asking for no contact, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm terrible at mispronouncing some names. And by the way, it's the last three letters I believe are OGO, and I think it may be misspelled on the thing. But my client is from the United States. He does have an accent because he has lived abroad during a significant part of his life, but he was born here and is back and is a citizen. He has cousins here. He's got community ties. His education is college level. I failed to ask him where the college was, but it's in finance and management. And he is a stockbroker. He does self-trading. And in the past, he had worked at a restaurant. So we would go along with the signature bond. We're going to completely leave it to the court as far as what's the appropriate condition. And we asked the court to go that route. Thank you.
All right, I am going to order the $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. And I'm going to make it a level 2. And with that, the defendant should have no further contact with the victim, Jada Prather. They are to stay away from each other right now. He's to be 200 football fields away from her, not to contact her through text, cell phone, computers, emails, or any other manner of contact right now.
You said 200 football fields?
I mean, 200, 200 yards, which equals 2 football fields. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me. That'll be 2 football fields. He is to have no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. If he has any guns, he needs to turn them in to the sheriff's department. This address is 3390 Stratford Road. Do we know who resides there or whose name's on the lease for that apartment or not?
I believe both of them live there together.
Okay. Well, Mr. Cordreo should find another place to live right now while he's on bond because he needs to stay away from that location, stay away from where Ms. Prather works, since he's to have no further contact with her. And I think that's it.
Your Honor,
Anything else?
what was the breakdown?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 3,000 on the battery and 2,000 on the trespass.
Okay. Next we have position number 15, Mr. Story.
Come on, sir.
All right, this is Brandon Story, 25 CR 0013335G, charged with 1 count of battery family violence pretrial.
You got 8 total. Got an open simple battery DV, battery DV out of Clayton County. On probation out of Clayton County. I don't know why they got battery -ag aggravated. But he got put on probation in Clayton County for that in 2023. They gave him 7 years probation. 2022 FTA, 2017 FTA, 2015 FTA.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from February the 6th of 2025 at about 1 in the morning. Police were called to 4555 Washington Road. There they met with Mrs. Fennell. Her first name is Kiana. I believe she's here on the Zoom with us. She reported that the father of her child had come to the residence to use her clothing dryer, that they're not together, but they share a child. And while he was there, he started to talk to her about getting back together, and they argued. She asked him to leave, and she opened the front door for him to exit. He refused. He demanded a laundry basket that was in the home. He went upstairs to get his laundry basket and dumped her clothing on the floor, came back downstairs and shoved her twice at least, causing her to fall to the ground. She had abrasions to her elbows, her forearm, and her knee. She called the police, and she provided information about the defendant's identification, etc. And the police documents indicate that they tried to call him, but he didn't respond. You did just hear about open probation case from 2023 in Clayton County. I see a prior battery arrest from our family violence battery arrest in 2019. I would say that when we spoke to the victim today, she reports they're not in a relationship. They share 2 children, and she confirmed what happened in the documents. She said that they have been in contact with each other around transportation of their children and currently using a third-party transfer, which seems appropriate. She said there's been no violence since this incident. The defendant has made 2 calls to this victim from the jail. And in those calls, he immediately starts to talk about having her complete an affidavit like the last time. He tells her that you did this to me. They said your name's on the paperwork. You pressed charges on me. She explains she's not sure what he's talking about. And she says, you did that. You did this. So what if somebody else called the police? There's a concern, Your Honor, not just for the safety of this victim, but for intimidation and witness tampering in this case. Clearly, this is a complex issue. People who share children and are trying to co-parent children want to be able to maintain their contact and their relationship, but ultimately, children shouldn't be subjected to this. The mother shouldn't be subjected to this, and you've got a defendant in front of you with a substantial history, including being on probation right now. But what is illustrated is a instant desire to not be responsible or have consequences for behavior, and to rely on a victim that has been battered to make consequences disappear, and that's a concern for the state. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, absolutely no contact with the victim or her children, to continue that third-party contact for transfer of children so that they can co-parent in that respect, but no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you. And if you would sound for Mrs. Fennell, Fennell. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Fennell, do you want to address the court today? You're still on mute. Still can't hear you.
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. I couldn't unmute.
Right. Wish to address the court today, yes or no?
Yes, I can.
Okay, raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are you in fear of Mr. Story?
I'm not. I'm not in fear.
Okay. Do you want to have any further contact with Mr. Story?
No, if we can continue how we're doing with the kids, then that's fine, perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. How many kids are there?
2,
2. And their ages?
7 and 8.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll continue with that third party transfer. Yes.
Just a quick question, Your Honor, for Mrs. Fennell. Are you the victim in this 2023 case out of Clayton County? It looks like it is actually a aggravated battery and a cruelty to children.
No, I'm not.
And what about the one from 2019, also out of Clayton County?
No, that's the same. It's just it happened in 2019, and he didn't have court until like get settled in 2023.
So do you know who the victim is on this case?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Brandon Story is 34 years old. He has a high school education plus 2 years of vocational after that. He has been to the Job Corps in Kentucky, and he works at GC Ingredients, and they deal with food. It's on Atlanta Industrial, and they deal with food matters, food products. And before that, he worked for Amazon doing delivery. So we would ask the court to consider the lowest bond possible in this situation, if a signature bond or a $1,000 surety bond.
I'm going to order a $2,000 surety bond. And with that $2,000 surety bond, he is to have no further contact with Kiana Fennell. If visitation is allowed with the children to be facilitated by a third party. And he is to stay away from 4555 Washington Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think that is it. Anything else? Did I leave out anything? All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fennell.
Thank you.
Next we have,
Uh-huh.
next we have position number 9, Mr. Genius.
Which position is next?
9.
This 25 CR 0013339D. Generic Genius, and I apologize, I'm not pronouncing the last name correct. 1 count of simple battery family violence pretrial.
What we got? 9 total. Open suspended license. Failed to obey traffic signal. 2022 probation. Had a 2020 criminal damage that was dismissed. 2019 disorderly conduct conviction. 2019 ag assault dismissed. 2018 criminal damage to property arrest. 2017 FTA.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened on June 5th, 2023 at 3378 Green Barrel Parkway Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Kyle Gregory. Officers responded to a dispute regarding roommates. Defendant and the victim got into an argument because defendant was wearing the victim's clothes. The victim asked him to take them off and return the items. Defendant refused. The argument ensued, to which the defendant grabbed the victim by the arm and pushed and shoved him. The state is looking for a $1,000 surety bond on this case. No further violent contact with the victim, Kyle Gregory. Stay away from 3378 Green Barrel Parkway Southwest in Atlanta. It looks like the the defendant listed a new home address anyway. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right. Mr. Tatia, and I know that's not right. I have to go to my notes to make sure. Let me see if I can get it right. Chitaya? Is
Chitaya,
that
yeah.
close? Chitaya. Close.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
sorry.
Not a problem. Mr. Genius is 32 years old, Your Honor. He's been a Georgia resident for about 9 years. Since arriving to Georgia, he's been working as a medical laboratory technologist for Kaiser Permanente Health. He is currently finishing his bachelor's degree at Georgia State University. He's majoring in biology, where he's a full-time student there. And he hopes to go to medical school. He's currently applying to Augusta and Emory. Apart from that, Your Honor, we just ask for given those facts, we ask for the lowest bond possible for his case, and no objection to the other requirements.
Right. I'm going to order the $1,000 surety bond. With that surety bond, he's to stay away from the incident location. No further contact with the victim. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that will be it.
Next, we have position number 14, Mr. Patrick.
In courtroom 2, you needed position 2.
Yes.
That should be $3,000 SOB pretrial level 1.
And then Ms. Jones was 2,000. I forgot what position she was, but it was $2,000 pretrial.
Let's see, Jones,
That's what I have.
2,000 SOB pretrial level 1. Yes.
Okay.
And we're on
14.
14. Okay. 25 CR 001349A, Reginald Patrick, charged with 1 count of failure to dim lights, 2nd count failure to obey signs or control signals, 3rd count driving while license suspended or revoked. Pretrial.
7 total. 2024 probation, 2022 FTA. He has some violent convictions. I didn't see any criminal driving arrest.
All right.
Your Honor, this happened on March the 13th at about 2 in the morning. The defendant was seen driving a 2014 Dodge Avenger with the high beams on. This is in the area of Georgia 400 southbound at the exit ramp of Mansell Road in Alpharetta. The high beams were directed into the face of oncoming traffic in the front of oncoming traffic vehicles. Officers initiated a traffic stop. After watching the defendant sit at a green light for more than 16 seconds and not go anywhere, traffic stop was initiated. The defendant was the driver and the owner of the vehicle was the passenger, a young woman. The officer, while talking to the defendant, asked about the smell of marijuana and saw the butt of a handgun sticking out between the driver's seat and the passenger seat. The defendant was observed moving his hands in a suspicious manner, and because of the delay at the stoplight, there was a concern that there might have been destruction of evidence. So the people were asked to exit the car. Others were brought in to assist. Both the passenger and the driver were removed from the vehicle. The defendant in front of you gave his information to officers. The young woman who is the registered owner of the car and in the passenger seat claimed the firearm between the two of them. That's probably because of those violent convictions. While she was looking for her identification, she had a cellophane baggie with drugs, blue pills that she said were ecstasy on her person. She was taken into custody. The defendant was found to have a suspended driver's license since February of 2023. And so he was arrested for failing to obey the signal, failing to dim his lights, and for driving on that suspended license. Your Honor, we're asking for a $2,000 surety, no driving without a license, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Okay. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Patrick lives on Harold Avenue here in Atlanta. He is 32 years old, lived in Georgia all his life, completed his high school education with a GED. He works sometimes with his uncle. They do landscaping type of work. And he asked the court to consider the lowest bond possible in his situation. I would be emphasizing the nature of the charges. Thank you.
I'm going to order a $1,500 surety bond, $500 on each of the charges. And with that $1,500 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond, and no driving unless he has a proper license and documents for the vehicle. And I guess that's it. Anything else?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, Your Honor, is position number 11, Mr. McKinney.
This is 25 CR 001342F Lonnie McKinney, charged with 1 count of cruelty to children in 3rd degree, 1 count of battery family violence, and a 3rd count of willful obstruction. Pretrial.
I got first arrest, but he's a resident of Minnesota.
Okay.
Your Honor, this
Okay.
incident, Your Honor, this incident happened on March 12th, 2025 at 1020 Hill Street Southeast. I believe this residence is the defendant's sister's address. This looks like the defendant and the victim in this case, a Kimberly Fredrickson, were arguing about being in a relationship. The victim stated she did not want to discuss the matter, didn't want to be in a relationship with the defendant. The defendant snatched the victim's phone, pushed her into a room. The warrant states he started choking her and grabbed her by her neck, leaving visible marks, scratches, and bruises. The victim ran to the window screaming for help, in which a neighbor saw the defendant push her back inside, shut the window. 6 minor children were present. I believe 5 are the defendant's sister's kids, and 1 are the defendant and the victim's child. The victim and defendant are in a relationship. They live together in Minnesota. She confirmed the events in the warrant, but she stated that he grabbed her by her neck and pushed her, and that he did not allegedly choke her. Officers were able to observe injuries, and there's been several jail calls between the defendant and the victim describing her several injuries. I believe the victim is on Zoom, so we could sound for her when appropriate. The state is looking for a signature bond through pretrial. No further contact with the victim, Kimberly Fredrickson. No further violent contact with the minor, initials KM. We'll leave the stay away to the court's discretion. I'm not sure if the victim is still staying with the defendant's sister at this time, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right. Miss Fredrickson, is that iPhone for Kim? Is that you?
No,
Miss
ma'am, that's
Fredrickson?
not me.
Oh,
This is me.
which case are you here for?
Lonnie McKinney.
All right, we just finished that case. Oh, we're on Lonnie McKinney. That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Are you the victim in this case, Kimberly Fredrickson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you're going to address the court, I need to put your camera on you, turn your video on. I think it's on, but I need to see you in the camera. Okay. Do you wish to address the court today?
Yes.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, put your hand down. Are you in fear of Mr. Lonnie McKinney?
No.
Do you want to have contact with Mr. McKinney?
Yes.
All right. Do you all have children together?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
3 months today.
3 months. Okay. All right. And at this incident location, is that where you all are residing together?
No, I live in Minnesota and I had just came back to Minnesota yesterday.
So are you back living in Georgia now or intending to live in Georgia or what?
No, I'm in Minnesota. I came back to
Other way around, came back to Minnesota. All right. Okay, so you were here just for him to visit with the child? You were here last week or so? Well, no, this is on the 12th. You were here on the 12th for him to visit with the child?
No, to help his sister with babysitting with her kids.
Okay.
We live together in Minnesota as a family, me, him, and the child.
Gotcha. All right. PD?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can mute yourself, Ms. Fredrickson. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. McKinney is 19 years old. He has been here in Georgia for a very short time. Um, he got through school as far as the 12th grade, and he's currently self-employed. He's been cutting hair for the past year now. And also seeing that this is first arrest, Your Honor, I think it'd be appropriate to follow the state's recommendation of a signature bond. And as to the stay away, I'm not sure if that would be necessary because Ms. Frederickson is not at the incident address anymore. And my client informs me that that's where he's residing in Georgia.
All right. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1,000 on each of the charges. And I'm gonna make that a level 1. And I guess he should be able to call in if he's gonna be living in Minnesota, but still
Yeah.
gotta check.
Yeah, it's gonna be per judge because he don't live here. I'm just
Okay,
letting you know.
per judge. Thank you. Per judge, I'm going to order that he have no further violent contact with Kimberly Ferguson. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that's it. Anything else? Oh,
Next, Your Honor, is position 16. Mr. Weaver.
okay. Said 16?
Yes, Your Honor.
2025 CR 001341C Jarvis Weaver, charge of 1 count of battery, family violence, and 1 count of cruelty to children. Retrial.
What we got? This is fifth arrest. We got to open marijuana from the city. Open sale of marijuana, possession of drug-related objects. That is 24 PI 004634. Open battery against a female who is pregnant. And simple battery is 23 CR 004881C. Got to open possession of marijuana with intent, loitering, prowling, 18 SC 162596.
Your Honor, this
Okay.
is my case. It's incident from February the 6th. The victim in this case, her name is Kenya Rice. And this battery family violence that was reported in February happened in front of the child that they share, Journey Weaver. Year of birth, I should say, is 2022, so a very small child. One moment, let me give you some more information. The open case, that 23 CR numbered case, Your Honor, battery against a woman who's pregnant, is also against the same victim. He currently has a $2,500 good bond in that case and a requirement that he have no contact with the victim, Kenya Rice, who again is the victim in our case today. So he's in violation of the order of the court as it relates to his open battery family violence against the same woman, the mother of his child. Today in front of you, this case from February the 6th. I'm sorry if you can hear my children in the background. I apologize. So police were called and responded to the location, which is 1890 Myrtle Drive Southwest, apartment 418. They went to the location after 911 received a hang-up call, and they made contact with Mrs. Rice. She had visible scratches, multiple visible scratches on her arms and her face, and she reported that she'd been assaulted by Mr. Walker, who she shares a child with. She said that she and the defendant and their 2-year-old daughter had been in a vehicle at the intersection of MLK and Griffin. They were arguing, and this escalated when Mr. Weaver, slapped her across her face.
It's a waiver.
She got out of the vehicle and she tried to remove their daughter, and he prevented her from taking the daughter that they share out of the car. So she got into the vehicle, and they were taken to her mother's address, which is that 1890 Myrtle Drive Southwest. She reported that once they got to the location, she began to get out of the vehicle. The defendant started removing her items from the vehicle and bringing them inside the apartment where her family was. And everyone told him he needed to calm down. He made threats to everyone, refused to calm down, and was not present when police were on scene. Officers from the domestic violence unit reached out to her after this initial report, and detailed the obvious injuries on her and the fact that this had occurred in front of a child. They attempted to interview the victim in person, but were not successful in doing that, so they obtained warrants. And those were just served when the defendant in front of you was arrested this week. So, Your Honor, just based on the fact that there's an open assault, he was just in court in 2023 and given a bond by Judge Williams related to striking the same woman in the face, body slamming her, kicking her in her body, and she had visible swelling to her face. She reported in that incident that she wasn't allowed to call 911 from the location where she was living with his family. So she had to wait and notify police when she got to the hospital after being assaulted by this gentleman. There's a concern for her safety and the safety of the child. The defendant's not following the conditions of the order of the court already by having contact with her, and now it's violent contact. So we're asking for a $6,000 surety. That'd be $3,000 on each charge. No contact with the victim, Mrs. Kenya Rice, or the child, Journey Weaver. And we would ask for the defendant to be ordered to enroll in a family violence intervention programming and show proof of enrollment, or in the least attend some anger awareness or anger management classes, and have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I'm getting a message from KR on our Zoom. I would tell the court that we have spoken to Mrs. Rice, and she reports they're in a relationship. She acknowledged the open case, but said she just had no idea that case was even open. She says she and the defendant are on good terms, and she wants to continue contact. So I'm guessing KR is Mrs. Rice, and she would like to speak. So if you'd sound for her. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Rice, you wish to address the court today, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, raise your right hand for me.
Okay, I'm trying to make my video.
Okay. Okay, can you come over some? I can only see half of your face. Are you there? No.
I mean, it's showing that I'm in the camera fully.
We can't see it.
And are you not seeing? I'm not sure why.
I'm only getting every other word. You have a bad connection. Very bad connection. Okay, so now she dropped off. I don't know, she's coming right back.
Now we can see you.
Okay. I think you just
Okay.
had a bad connection. Let's see if it's any better, because I still tell me your name again.
Kenya Rice.
All right. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. Are you in fear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You can put your hand down. Are you in fear of Mr. Jarvis?
No, I'm not, ma'am.
Do you want to have any further contact with Mr. Jarvis Weaver?
Yes, I would like to because he is very hands-on with our daughter as far as in watching her and while I work and things like that. He's very hands-on.
But is this the charge he has now is cruelty to children and battery family violence? So I don't know if I want him to still be hands-on. This case happened, I know, in February. We're now in March, but I want to make sure that your child is going to be safe.
Yes, she will. Um, I don't have no concern of fear for my daughter's safety or my safety. The situation just got out of hand. It escalated, which it shouldn't have. And the last case, we haven't had no incident since the last case. And from my understanding, I thought the last case was honestly closed after we went to court for that case. I didn't know that the case was still open, and I didn't know how long was the no contact was supposed to be. Hence why.
Yeah, your
Okay.
sound has gone out. When you're under bond and you don't get an order to say it's released, then it's still going on. That was your 2023 case you're talking about?
Yes. So,
You should have
and
reached
I
out
also
to
had
the
tried
family.
to. Yeah, I did, ma'am. I did. I also tried to reach out to the paper I had, the case number. I don't have that paper anymore, but I also tried to reach out to the number that I was provided on that paper as well in regards to the terms of that case in 2023. I was not able to reach out to anyone. Not the detective, the investigator, or nobody regards to the case that happened in 2023, as well as this case that happened, just happened in 2024. I still wasn't able to reach out to anyone. I only spoke to I guess the Atlanta advocate that you guys, the victim advocate you guys have to call out
That
like
the
a week
solicitor
prior.
has. Yeah.
Yes, the solicitor, like a week after. But other than that, I was supposed to be waiting on the detective from what the solicitor told me to go over everything. And I also informed the solicitor at the time of the call that I didn't fear for my safety or my daughter's safety. And we were at good standing or whatever because he is very hands-on with helping me with childcare, as in watching my daughter while I work because she's currently.
So she's currently what?
I said, he is very hands-on when it comes to watching my daughter and, just with my daughter, period. Because right now I work, and when I'm at work, he have her while I work, basically.
How old is your
She's
daughter?
not in school. She's 2.
But I'm concerned about this incident that just happened with you all last month.
Yes, and I understand your concern, ma'am. During that time, I was emotional and I caused that. I initiated that. I can be honest and say that. So, I mean, I don't fear for my safety or my daughter's safety, and I don't want that to ruin the good standing that me and him have now, especially with us co-parenting.
So in less than a month now, you're able to co-parent after the incident?
No, man, we was co-parenting before the incident, and we was co-parenting after the incident.
But the police came out and he gets arrested.
Yes, and I understand that the police did come out. Yes, I understand it, ma'am. I understand that.
Let me see what Mr. McLean has to say.
Thank you, Honor. Jarvis Weaver is 26 years old. His address is in Scottsdale, Georgia. I believe that's DeKalb County, near 285 and Memorial. He has completed a high school education by virtue of his GED work. He drives for Uber and Lyft. He has also been involved in growing food, basically farming, agriculture. And he's been a groundskeeper in a large facility here in Atlanta. He, with his address being what it is, stable address, he can follow appropriate conditions, Your Honor, for whatever the court may wish to order for the pendency of the case, and he should be able to appear on time. We will further discuss those items, Your Honor, but we would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond in this case. Thank you.
All right. Due to the history, and sometimes I give cash bonds when they violated a previous bond order. See this other one from Judge Williams. But I'll go with the 6,000 surety bond for now. 3,000 on each of the charges. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I'm going to there was already supposed to be no contact, so I'm going to go with no further contact with Kenya Rice. If you all are going to do visitation or exchange the child, that should be done by a third party.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yeah.
So
Where are
I would like for us to still,
hold
you
on,
know,
hold on, I can't see you. You can only speak when you're
okay,
saying.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm trying to turn on my video. You can see me now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor, I would like for us to have nonviolent contact due to the fact of he is literally my sole support. The only support I have when it comes to my daughter. And with me and my job that I just started, which I'm currently in the probationary period, he is the only person that, you know, the sole support I have with keeping my daughter and with just hands-on with my daughter, period. He's the only sole support that I have. So I would like for you to grant, you know, no contact, non-violent contact.
I know,
If
but
it's possible,
it didn't
please,
work. It
because
didn't
I
work.
don't want to.
The issue though, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the issue is that there's already a bond order in place that says no contact, and this judge can't go and change the order of the court already. So even if she
Okay,
were to
which is
order, ma'am, you have to let me finish. Even if Judge
okay, ma'am. Go ahead.
even if Judge Mincy were to order no violent contact, there's still an order in place on your open case that says no contact.
Okay.
So that's where we
Okay, and I
are.
understand.
Okay.
Okay, and I understand that. And with that last case, like I told the solicitor and the advocate then that I didn't want a TPO then. I asked her for a non-violent contact then.
Okay.
And
Ma'am,
she okay,
we're happy to
can I
talk to you
finish?
about this
That's
further.
fine. Can I finish? Let me
I
finish,
think
ma'am. I'll
you've
let you
said
finish.
everything.
No, at
Okay.
this point, you're the victim, and I've given you the floor a little bit, but I'm not gonna keep going back and forth because I'm not gonna override the other order. He was already supposed to not have any contact with you. And you all did, and look what happened. He caught another case. So obviously this is not working. So we've got to stop it, regroup, slow it down, come back to it later. Maybe he can get some counseling or something to help deal with how he deals with his anger or when he gets mad or whatever happens for him to catch these cases. So I'm not going to overrule the previous judge from 2023. We're back here again in 2025. So no further contact.
Okay, so
And
when will the case be over? Both cases. How long does the
I don't
case
know.
span last?
I have no control over that. You'll have to talk to the solicitor's office and see when your cases are scheduled or calendared, to see how they move through the system.
Okay, goodbye. I don't want to hear it no more.
Okay.
That might be part of the problem. Both of these cases should be reset for the SAP calendar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got it? Let's see.
Yeah, position
So what
number.
happened to position 1?
He's a waiver.
Waiver. Okay. And then I think that's the last one. Right.
All right, that's Mr. Bates.
Right. All right. All right. 25 CR 001314 F. He's charged with 3 counts of simple battery against a police officer or detention officer.
He got over 20. He been in custody since February with probation holds.
Okay.
2024 possession of a firearm by a convicted felon conviction. He had a 2024 criminal dam and burglary that was DWAP. 2020 ag assault, possession of a firearm during the commission, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon conviction.
All right.
Your Honor, this case was reset from yesterday. These are charges of simple battery against an officer. The defendant is accused of throwing urine and feces in the faces of 3 different officers when he was upset because he was told he was going to remain in his cell. When officers cracked the door open, he threw these items through the crack in the door. This is from February the 8th, Your Honor. We are asking for a $3,000 surety, so that's $1,000 on each count, and no further violence with officers Damari Harris, Moses Russ, and Courtney Pugh Hall.
All right. P.D. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Toma Bates is 51. He went to Washington High School and completed through the methodology of GED. He has currently he's unemployed, but he has through the years worked at temp services. So when he's able to get to those temp services, he works that way. He asked the court to set a reasonable bond as low as possible. He does have a stable mail address in that it's 201 Washington, and that is a program, and that's very reliable. We've known about that for years, and they're a steady, good mail address for people who are residentially challenged. And so he just asked me to speak to the court on his behalf and ask for the lowest bond that the court could give. Thank you.
I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond, and no further violent contact with the 3 officers.
And I'll put the names specifically in the chat for Mr. Jordan.
All right.
All right, so that's it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Jordan's coming soon. Somebody's in the chat, but she's probably gone. To everyone. So is Jarvis getting the bond?
I answered her question. I think she's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Judge, I have a question.
Who is that?
My name is Julia Butler. I'm family of somebody that was supposed to have a court date today. She was a victim.
Who, Kimberly Butler?
No, Zayon Farrell. She was the daughter of Farrell. Zephyr got seen today, and I was told that Zayon was getting seen today.
Case was dismissed.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That was my question.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You all have a blessed one. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, can't hear you, Mr. Jordan. For some reason.
Carolina, can you turn your video on, and Miss Dunlap too, so the judge can see you and imprint your faces on her brain?
It'll take a minute, but I will get there. Nice to meet both of you. Well, I've seen Miss Dunlap before.
So these ladies are new attorneys. Mrs. Dunlap is still under the Third Year Practice Act in our office, so you'll see her here helping us out.
Okay.
And Carolina Melguiso is a new hire, and so she's training in our unit, and we'll have her as long as we can. So we're
Okay.
gonna get her whipped into shape. So please be
Yes.
kind, everybody. Mr. Howard, I'm talking to you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Very
Nice
nice to
to
meet
meet
you.
you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Jordan.
Miss Dunlap, were you in school? Are you?
She's done.
I went to
Oh,
John
you're good.
Marshall.
Just waiting on results.
She's going to take the bar in July. She's taking her
Yeah.
time.
Gotcha.
We'll
It
use her.
doesn't hurt to do it, because I wouldn't want to do it again myself.
Never again.
Never. Yes. All right.
Position 1 is a $3,000 surety, reset SAP. Position 2 is a $3,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 1. Position 3 is a $3,000 surety. That's $1,000 for count 1 and $2,000 for count 2. Reset SAP. Position 4 is a $3,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 1. Sorry about that. That's $1,000 per charge. Position 5 is a $2,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 1.
What's that
Position,
contact?
say again.
What's the contact?
For Pharrell, no further violent contact with the victim. Zion Farrell. Position 6 is a $3,000 surety, $1,000 per charge. There's 3 charges. Position 7 is a $6,000 surety, $1,000 for counts 1 and 2, $3,000 for count 3, the DUI, and then $1,000 for count 4. Reset SAP. Position 8 is a $3,000 sign-on bond pretrial, level 2, $1,500 per charge. Position 9 is a $1,000 surety, reset SAP. Position 10 is a $2,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 1. Position 11 is a $3,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 1 per judge. That's $1,000 per charge. Position 12 is a $5,000 sign-on bond pretrial level 2, $3,000 for count 1 and $2,000 for count 2. Position 13 is a $18,000 surety, $5,000 for counts 1 and 2, $1,000 for count 3, $2,000 for count 4, and $5,000 for count 5. Reset SAP. Position 14 is a $1,500 surety. That's $500 per charge. Reset SAP. Position 15 is a $2,000 surety. Reset SAP. Position 16 is a $6,000 surety. $3,000 per charge. Reset SAP. And position 17 is a $6,000 surety. $2,000 per charge. Reset SAP. Any changes?
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think you got it all.
Who's on tomorrow?
Law. Yeah, you have law tomorrow.
Mr. Jordan, who's on tomorrow?
And Ms. Lewis.
Okay.
About to
Okay.
get slammed.
Mr. Chitaya is so lovely, by the way, Judge Mincy.
Say that again.
Mr. Chitaya, he is
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
Are you on
I like-
tomorrow? Do you have to work on Saturdays? I might have to move to the PD's office, y'all.
I know, right? Because he's not. How long have you been there, Mr. Chitaya?
Let's see, this is my 3rd month.
3rd month.
You're already like an expert.
Yes.
Right, Mr. McLean?
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Great. All
It'll
right,
be.
everybody. Enjoy your evening. I'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Mr.
All right.
Jordan, it'll be Jamel Ham and Heather Tucker tomorrow. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
All right.